When Reginald Lil Reg Ward pulled into a come-and-go gas station in Cedar Rapids one October morning in 2019, he had no idea he was being hunted. Moments later, the charismatic 27-year-old would be fighting for his life after being shot with specialized ammunition designed to spider inside his body, causing catastrophic internal damage. The shocking execution-style murder, captured on surveillance cameras from nearby businesses, would reveal a twisted tale of jealousy, betrayal and premeditated violence that shocked investigators and devastated a family. Reggie Ward was described by those who knew him as one of the most charismatic people they'd ever met. A Miami native with a passion for the water, he had recently moved to the Quad Cities area for work while maintaining a relationship with his girlfriend, Kiera Morais, who lived in Cedar Rapids. Friends noted how smitten he was with Kiera, with one remarking that he thought he hit the lotto when he met her. A dedicated father of 2 children, Reggie was remembered for his playful spirit and for taking fatherhood seriously. The only thing that he took seriously, according to his cousin Alexandria. The morning of October 30, 2019 started routinely enough. Reggie and Kiera left her apartment together, with Reggie behind the wheel of his black Monte Carlo. What they didn't know was that someone was watching them. Someone who had been waiting patiently for nearly 20 minutes in a gold Ford Fusion parked nearby. That someone was Todd Jenkins, Kiera's jealous ex-boyfriend, who had carefully planned what was about to unfold. As Reggie pulled onto the road, Todd followed closely behind in the gold sedan. At 7:51 a.m., both vehicles pulled into the come-and-go gas station. A store employee cleaning the pumps immediately sensed something was wrong based on how quickly the vehicles entered the lot. Reggie exited his car and became engaged in an argument with the driver of the gold vehicle. Moments later, shots were fired, and Todd quickly fled the scene. The bullet that struck Reggie in his upper leg was no ordinary ammunition. Investigators would later discover it was specialized R.I.P, radically invasive projectile ammunition, designed to cause maximum damage to internal organs. It spidered into his body and basically shredded his insides, explained investigator Shear. Despite efforts by bystanders and first responders to stop the bleeding, including the application of a tourniquet, Reggie was losing too much blood. He was rushed to St. Luke's Hospital, but the damage was too severe. The next day, Reggie Ward was pronounced dead. Investigators faced an immediate challenge when they discovered the come-and-go surveillance cameras were either obstructed or not working. A frustrating setback for a crime committed in broad daylight at a busy gas station. Being an investigator and getting video surveillance that you would think would show the crime at a business, and it doesn't, can be very frustrating, noted investigator DeVore. However, this initial disappointment would eventually give way to a masterclass in how modern investigations can piece together evidence from multiple surveillance sources to solve a crime. The first break came from Flowerama, a flower shop across the street from the come-and-go. Their cameras captured the black Monte Carlo entering the gas station, closely followed by a gold-colored sedan. Though partially obstructed by a pickup truck, the footage showed Reggie, identifiable by his white t-shirt, exiting his vehicle and a confrontation with the driver of the gold car, wearing dark clothing. The body language clearly indicated an argument before Reggie was shot and collapsed. The gold car then sped away while Kiera moved Reggie to the passenger seat before stopping and seeking help. While the Flowerama footage was crucial, it didn't provide a clear view of the shooter's face or the car's license plate. Investigators turned to Kiera, who had witnessed the entire event, but she proved frustratingly unhelpful. Despite being right next to Reggie during the shooting, she claimed not to know who the shooter was, a claim that immediately raised suspicions. The investigation took an interesting turn when police executed a search warrant on Kiera's apartment. There they found 9mm ammunition, though different from the specialized rounds used in the shooting, and notably a note signed Todrick that read, "I miss you." Around the same time, an anonymous caller tipped off police that Kiera and Reggie had been having problems with her ex-boyfriend, identified as Todd Jenkins. This lead opened up a treasure trove of evidence. Investigators discovered Todd had recently purchased a Glock 9mm pistol and, crucially, a box of the rare R.I.P ammunition, the same specialized bullets used to kill Reggie. The gun shop owner told police he had only sold one box of this unusual ammunition, and it was to Todd Jenkins. Meanwhile, surveillance footage from businesses near Kiera's apartment revealed the gold sedan, later identified as belonging to Todd's sister, waiting near the apartment complex for 20 minutes before Reggie and Kiera emerged. This wasn't a chance encounter. It was a calculated ambush. This wasn't an accidental shooting, stated investigator Shear. This wasn't by mistake. This was actually a planned-out murder execution. Perhaps the most damning piece of evidence came from a Casey's convenience store near Kiera's apartment, where Todd had stopped just before positioning himself to wait for Reggie. Clear surveillance footage showed Todd inside the store cashing in lottery tickets, which he had signed with his name, before heading toward Kiera's apartment. This footage definitively placed Todd Jenkins in Cedar Rapids on the morning of the murder. Kiera's cell phone records further incriminated both her and Todd. Records showed Todd called Kiera just 2 minutes before the shooting, while he was actively pursuing Reggie's car. Even more shocking was a text message from Kiera to Todd stating, "If you want to fight or shoot this man, you have to be ready." This bombshell suggested Kiera wasn't just aware of Todd's intentions. She may have been encouraging them. When confronted with this evidence, Kiera remained evasive, refusing to acknowledge her communications with Todd or her knowledge of his presence that morning. Investigators had enough evidence to charge Todd with murder, but locating him proved challenging as he had gone off the grid. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place when investigators reviewed Kiera's more recent phone records and found she had called a Quality Inn in Aurora, Illinois. When police checked with the hotel, they confirmed Todd was staying there. Surveillance footage from the hotel lobby delivered the ultimate betrayal. Kiera was seen with Todd at the hotel. Despite witnessing Todd murder her boyfriend Reggie, she had reconciled with his killer. On March 26, 2020, U.S. Marshals arrested Todd Jenkins at the hotel where he was staying with Kiera. When interviewed in jail, Todd denied even being in Cedar Rapids, maintaining this denial even when shown clear photographic evidence of himself at the Casey's store on the morning of the murder. Kiera was initially charged as an accessory after the fact, but prosecutors offered her a deal: testify against Todd in exchange for having charges dismissed. She accepted. Meanwhile, Todd's sister, the owner of the Ford Fusion, was found to have no knowledge of or involvement in the murder and faced no charges. In May 2021, Todd Jenkins waived his right to a jury trial, opting instead for a bench trial. The surveillance evidence was overwhelming. Prosecutors outlined how Todd, driven by jealousy over Kiera's relationship with Reggie, had carefully planned the murder. He drove his sister's gold Ford Fusion to Cedar Rapids, armed with his recently purchased Glock and specialized ammunition. He waited patiently outside Kiera's apartment, followed Reggie to the gas station, confronted him, and shot him before fleeing back to Davenport. Police believe he disposed of the murder weapon by throwing it into the Mississippi River. The judge found Todd Jenkins guilty of first-degree murder, and on September 29, 2021, he was sentenced to life without parole. For investigators, the case highlighted the crucial role surveillance footage plays in modern criminal investigations. Building the case against Todd Jenkins, we would not have got his conviction, and I don't know if we would have got charges filed and ever resolved the case without surveillance footage, reflected investigator Shear. For Reggie's family, the conviction provided some justice but little comfort. Alexandria, Reggie's cousin, expressed her ongoing grief and frustration at the senselessness of the crime. Todd Jenkins was an absolute coward. You had to pull a gun and shoot my brother while he was walking away. Over a girl? She meant that much? And don't nobody got her now because my brother dead, and you in prison for the rest of your life. The case of Reginald Ward's murder represents a tragic example of how jealousy can escalate to premeditated violence. It also showcases the evolution of criminal investigations in an age where surveillance footage has become a crucial tool for law enforcement. Despite the come-and-goes cameras failing to capture the crime, investigators were able to piece together a comprehensive timeline by gathering footage from multiple sources, from the flower shop across the street to a convenience store where the killer stopped for lottery tickets. This episode of See No Evil serves as a stark reminder of how difficult it can be to escape scrutiny in our surveillance-rich society. For Todd Jenkins, what he thought was a carefully planned murder was actually being documented at every turn. From waiting outside Kiera's apartment to the gas station confrontation to his hotel reunion with Kiera months later. Each camera added another piece to the puzzle, eventually creating an irrefutable case against him.